Hello Scorpio, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had a good Christmas and that you will have a wonderful 2020. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. Please don't forget to like and share or like and subscribe. This is a general reading, so parts of it may resonate with you or may connect with you, and parts of it may connect with somebody else that you're interacting with at this time. So just see how the energies play out. If you have influences in your birth chart which are associated with another sign, so perhaps you cross-watch for your moon sign or for your Venus or whichever, then you can look at my other videos to get further insight. I have shuffled and laid out the cards already. So as the cards are appearing in each house, then those are the influences that are coming to bear for you at this time. So bottom of the deck, overall, seems to be air element, communicating. It's going to be important for you this month, covering various aspects. I feel it's going to be really relationship-based, home-based, and also to do with your income, your money that's coming in for you, or to do with your self-worth and your values. So I feel there's going to be quite a bit of communication and clear communication in any one of those areas of your life. So this includes self-talk and also talk to others, because with the communication card, it covers a great many things, but it really does speak to manifestation. So positive self-talk, positive thoughts, and then, positive words associated with that are going to bring positive manifestations, and that's what you want, really. You could also be having quite a youthful outlook at this time, and you're being required to be spontaneous. And I feel that comes in with your chart, because there is some movement going on, particularly in a relationship. And so, you may just need to be very clear about what you say, how you say it, and all of those aspects. So yeah, overall, your communication going to be very important. How you express yourself, how you conduct yourself in your relationships, and how you're going to progress forward, and also in your home and your family life. So this is all coming up for you, which is also, this time of the year can often bring up a variety of things. And so therefore there may be aspects where you need to communicate clearly, and to move yourself forward. So now in the first house we have Venus, love, coming in for you. So whether you're in a relationship or not, or whether you're attracting somebody or not, this also speaks to, it's self-love as well, but it's also can be obviously love coming in for you, love you have for another, or love that you are pursuing at this time. So the first house is the house of self, your appearance, your vitality, your life force, but it's also what you project to others, how you're coming across to others, how they're perceiving you, also it's your self-oriented interests and your physical, your physical interests. It's also your physical body, and your characteristics and your personality and so on. It's also your personal independence, how you're making your way in the world, and your outlook and your attitude on a sort of a very much on a, putting yourself out there. So with Venus love card coming in for you, when anything that comes in the first house is always going to affect your 7th house, which is your house of relationships. So with the 2 coming in, you may have the opportunity for love coming in, or whether it's self-love or love for another, or you are receiving love from another, and now you're sort of turning to face this connection. With Virgo in the 7th house, you may need to overcome shyness, or perhaps self-criticism or criticism of others. And also with the 12th house, you've got Neptune in there. You may just have to be a little bit be mindful about issues you have with past hurts and things, lurking in the subconscious. And this is overcoming, perhaps sort of tendencies towards self-doing or self-sabotage or anything like that. So just be aware of all of these elements coming in for you, because with the Venus Love card coming in, obviously it's a partnership is indicated. Now, this can be a love partnership, or it can be some other kind of partnership which you are entering into at this time. So partnership, and if it's a love partnership, then love and romance comes in. And if it's another kind of a partnership, then there will be mutual support in there for you. But always the feeling with this card is let love take care of it. So be in your feels and feel loving towards yourself and towards others. And if there are any issues around, let love take care of it. This card is also about beauty and refinement and the attainment of that. So refinement is always a process we're constantly going through in our relationships, particularly because whatever you are, whatever you are needing to see or to experience or to understand will be projected outwards, and it will be reflected in others. So that is your cue then to work on your refinement. It's also appreciation of beauty. You may have somebody entering your life who is very attractive to you at this time, or they could be extremely charming, or you may be exuding this. You may be looking really amazing at this time, and your charm and refinement is at an all-time high. With the Venus card, that is certainly the case. So there's attractiveness here, and also art and fashion comes in. It's very highly indicated with Venus. So, that may come in for you in some way, shape or form. The love of luxuries, socializing, and going out and enjoying various types of art, activities which are related to the arts. So this is, art galleries, art pursuits, concerts, music, anything like that. So it's the appreciation of all that as well. It could also be that you are, as I say, going after that yourself. Perhaps you are now exhibiting more artistic talents, or you are, getting into, changing the way you look. And enjoying, sort of a fashion update or something like that. But it's general attractiveness either coming to you or you are projecting it. Money and legal matters may also be sort of prevalent at this time. So if there are any troubles around that, use your charm. Put your love and your energy into it to smooth the waters and to find resolutions. So this card is all about relating in all different ways, whether it's personal or to others, and having a positive energy and a vibration of love. It could also be, because of Venus's love for luxuries, it could also be that you are wanting to make expensive purchases at this time. So just be aware with that, because coming up in your second house is going to be a bit of a jolt, and perhaps making an expensive purchase is not necessarily the right thing at this time. But see how you go, and just see how the energies play out for you. So in the second house we have solar eclipse revolution. Second house is the house of your income that's coming in, whatever shape or form that is, but it's also the house of your self-worth and your values, what you value in yourself, what you value in others, and in your ownership. So this will be possessions that you have, all forms of ownership. It also goes to land, property, real estate, all of those factors coming in. So if you are entering into a relationship, or somebody's coming into and you're doing a bit of self-analysis with regards to yourself, then this is going to affect your self-worth and your values. So because the solar eclipse revolution is coming in, this is bringing in swift changes of some kind. So a complete rearrangement, a revolution, a complete rearrangement of what is going on in this house. So whether this is a purely mental and a mental situation or emotional as to how you view yourself or how you view others and what you value in your life, or whether it's actual physical money coming in, so your income, there is swift changes coming in for you. So some sort of upheaval or a jolt, a change of direction even, or you may need to go in and fix or change something. And once you do that, you're going to create something much better. So this card really does force you to be in the moment, to actually be present with all things and make the necessary changes in your present, because in your present, that is how you affect your future. You can't change the past, it's gone. You can learn from it, and be open to change. But ultimately, if you want to change your future, it's how you do it in the present. Okay, but you're closing one chapter and you're opening a new one with this card. It's also, as I said, about breaking old patterns. So however that's playing out for you, moving from something to another, and you have to break those patterns. There's a self-mastery in this as well, facing what needs to be faced in yourself or in others or in your situation, financially possibly. You're going to be making a decision, and you're going to be forced to act on it as well. So see how this plays out for you. Then in the third house, your house of communication, and that's a house of short journeys as well, local journeys. So your communication is your verbal, written, can even be online. It's also your body language. It's also the house of contracts and documents, all forms. So the communication can be to people around you, to specific people. It can also be to wider audiences or be part of your profession, as like your communication for your business and so on. But more specifically, it can be communication with specific people like relatives, so aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, so general relatives as well, and also neighbors may come in for you. So with this card, I feel this ties in with this communication card, because Pisces, I believe, has a couple of elements to it. It is, yes, about having faith and belief in trust in what you were doing and what you were saying and so on. So it is very much about that. It's a form of surrender, really, as well. But on the other side of it, it is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune can sometimes draw a veil over things. So be clear in all your communications, especially since it falls in your communication house. Beware of confusion or illusion, so falling under illusions of some kind. But deceptions are also possible. People may be wearing masks at this time, or you may be wearing a mask. You could also be getting pulled into other people's problems. So they kind of suck your energy. So be careful with that. Maintain your boundaries. That's communication coming in again. Because self-undoing can arise from this card. So just be aware of that. On the other side of this, if you are in a field where you are required to use your imagination, you're artistic and so on, this is a wonderful card to be having in. So your imagination will be heightened, your artistic abilities will be heightened, and your connection to a higher consciousness. So you could be downloading, you could be channeling. You're going to be very sensitive at this time, and sensitive to messages from the divine. So the imagination and the arts come up again. The arts came up before. So you may be channeling that at this time, and it's a wonderful card to be having for that. Just don't, it borders on fantasy. So fantasy is very strong, but also illusions. And for some people who are involved in that kind of field, whether it's filmmaking or writing or whatever, that's important. But when it comes to personal interactions and documents and contracts in particular, you need to just be a little bit careful with this card. You could also be requiring to visit water bodies in your environment. So that's lakes, rivers, the sea, anything like that. And you'll get a lot of peace and feel quite tranquil next to those places. That's the whole point with the Pisces. It's a water sign. Then in the fourth house, we have lunar eclipse change, another change card coming in for you. So your fourth house is your house of house and home. So whether it's your physical house or just where you're residing currently, or it could be the atmosphere in the home or the people in your home currently, or it can be the relationship that you have with your family, your roots, your foundation, your ethnic identity, your ancestry, and so on. All of that may be coming in under review with this card. So lunar eclipse change brings in some sort of abrupt change or shift. So it could be very unexpected, or it could be something that you were aware of. You were aware of it, but it wasn't dealt with, or you couldn't deal with it, or you just weren't sure what form it was going to take, and then suddenly, wham, it comes up, it bubbles over very unexpectedly. So that could come in for you. It could also be that you have a realization of some kind, or a change in perception or attitude. That may come in for you with this as well. But it's going to be a very strong, abrupt change. So you could be shifted into something, and then comes the realization. This card is also about cycles. going through cycles of the moon. So this shift or change or whatever that is occurring in this house can take place within 6 weeks or unfold over a 6-month period. This card can also be a shift in moods and habits. And I'm bringing that up because it's in your 4th house. So, which is home and family, but it really, your moods and your habits are very much built around that. So you may be needing to have a really long, hard look at that and assess what is going on after some kind of event or after some kind of bubbling over occurs, all right? You will be feeling out of your comfort zone for a while until you find your feet once this shift has occurred. You're going to be moving out of a rut. If you've been in a rut, you're going to be moving out of it. So whether this is a home move for you or some other kind of shift, but you will be moved from one place to another if that is appropriate for you. But it's a necessary, inevitable change to bring in the new for you. Then in the 5th house, we have Gemini, I think. So this is the house of children. It's the house of, so your children or some other children that you're associated with at this time. It's also the house of creativity and artistic endeavors. You don't necessarily have to be artistic to be creative. Creativity we all use every day of our lives. Artistic ability is something that you perhaps have an ability with or that you are wanting to explore. Whether you think you're good at it or not, doesn't matter. It's something that you want to explore. So that falls under creativity. It's also the house of love affairs, what's going on there and how those unfold. And also the house of recreational activities. So this is all kinds of recreational activities. It can be sports, knitting, handcrafts, any kind of physical activity, whatever it is that you enjoy and is fun for you and gets you moving. So it gets you moving and interested. Okay, so it's fun recreational activities. It's also activities that have a sort of a speculative nature. So gambling and also stock exchange comes up under this. So thinking about children, this card can be about twins or siblings, so that may be appropriate for you. With children, this can also be the conception of children, but it's all issues around your children that you have in your life currently, or other children that you are associated with. With this card coming in, it's a very mental sign. You could be in two minds about something. You could be undecided about something. So that may be appropriate for you. Or, as I say, you could be seeing this, if you've got children in your life, you may be seeing this, anything in the 5th house, you may be seeing in them. So they may be going through various things, and you're going through it with them. So it's you or them could come in, or it's you and it could even be a love partner as in a love affair. So you could be in two minds about something, very undecided, trying to weigh things up to decide which way to go. Just be careful that with this card that you don't come across as fickle or glib, all right? This is a card to focus on your intellect. Be curious, research. It's also about multitasking. All communication is highly important. So yet again, we're having communications. Communication there, communication here, and communication here. It's very, very important, all right? So be very aware of what you're saying at this time and how you're projecting yourself at this time. Pay attention to detail. Pay attention to what is going on. This is also a card of exchanging ideas. So you may be doing that with another or with your children at this time, or in some environment. It's as a creative endeavor. This card also brings in technology, electronics, cars, and maps are all coming under this as well. So, vehicles. But technology and electronics are very highly indicated. So you could be having an upgrade or be needing to make an upgrade of some kind, or you may need to do this for your children. So it could be something that you have currently and it now needs to be changed and to bring in the new. Something better, smarter, faster, quicker, or whatever. This card is also about finish what you start, all right? Because Geminis, they do so much. And they multitask and they've got so much going on. Sometimes they don't finish what they start. So be sure that any project that you get going with at this time, or any recreational activity, that you see it right through. Then in the 6th house, we have earth element stability. 6th house is the house of work, your workplace, your work colleagues, your work environment. It's also your daily routines there. And it's also mastery of your craft, what it is that you do. This card is also this house is also the house of health and diet and lifestyle. And it's the house of pets. So with earth element stability, this is a very stabilizing influence coming in. It also brings in growth, standing strong when you need to stand strong. So being rooted, okay. It's also taking responsibility for what is going on, for whether it's your health or in your work environment. And also there's trust. So you may have trust issues with others. You may have issues with that, but it's about discernment, this card as well, and about standing strong and you still got to grow, you've still got to improve your environment. But so just have a look at all of these issues and touch on the trust issue, giving trust or receiving trust as well. So you could be asked to be more responsible or have more reliability or something like that. And this card is going to give you that aspect. You're going to be able to bring it in. It's also about getting organized, and you may be connecting with very powerful people at this time. These are very useful contacts that are going to help you in some way. You could be going into business as well. Land, real estate, any issues around that are indicated with this card. It's also the card of patience. It's a slow-moving energy, Earth. It often has a lot of money issues related to it, so it's about building. It's about building your foundations in work and in life, however it's appropriate for you, but it's always about building and accumulation and strength. So whatever you're building or you're trying to put together, you're going to need patience. This card also may bring in a bit of stubbornness. So you may be seeing this in yourself or in somebody else. It's just be careful that outdated views or old fixed views are not holding you back at this time. The action is required to let go of fears of change and try new things. So try new things. You need to let go of those fears because action is required with this card. So it's important not to be stuck in that. You need to try new things to shift the energy and to see where it can take you. When it comes to your health and your diet or your lifestyle, this card is really about taking good care of yourself, eating healthier, eating more foods that are closer to nature. In other words, less processed foods that are fresh and literally straight from nature. It could also be that you are in some way, shape or form wanting to start a garden or some sort of veggie patch or something like that. So living close to the earth, growing your own food, eating healthier, all of these things are going to be very important to enhance your health. It's also about relaxation, and even gardening may come in. All of these things, especially if you're growing your own food, it's going to bring you a great deal of satisfaction. Get your hands in the soil, and you're going to be helping yourself in lots of different ways. Gardening is incredibly therapeutic, but it's also about growing and nurturing, and that is a very necessary quality in all of us. Then in the 7th house, as I said earlier, we've got Virgo, I analyze. 7th house is the house of relationships. So this is close personal one-on-one relationships, but it can also be like a business partnership or any other close personal one-on-one relationship. So going back again to the 1st house where you have love coming in for you. So this is an attitude of love towards others. But it's also towards yourself, all right, in a potential partnership that may be coming for you at this time. So it's also, as I said, the 12th house, the house of the unconscious and what is going on there, and don't allow that to sabotage a beautiful relationship that may be coming to you at this time. So deal with your demons underneath and look at things in a helpful and constructive way. So how can you help yourself and how can you help your relationship? So with this card, it's also about an emotional or physical declutter, all right? So decluttering what is no longer serving you anymore, getting rid of all the stuff from the past to streamline. It's also about weighing up what is working. If you're in a current relationship, All of these can be applied. So it's weighing things up and seeing what is working, what is not, and taking steps to address that. But it needs to be done in a helpful and constructive fashion, because that's what Virgos are very good at. That they're very good at analyzing and weighing up what is working, what is not working, all the nuts and bolts, the details of it, and it can be very helpful and constructive. The other end of the scale is criticism, nitpicking, or excessive shyness. Shyness may also be a block for you at this time. So just be aware of that. Whether this is for self or for others, see how it plays out for you. Also with Virgo coming in, there may be worry energy. You may be worrying about this relationship or worrying about certain things to do, certain aspects of it. There could be a health issue looming there, or a hospital visit or something like that. But also it's important to get a grasp on mundane matters. So this is your daily routines in your home or in your life and in your relationship. The daily things, mundane matters may need attention at this time. It's also about being reliable. You need to be reliable in your relationship, and if you whether it's an existing or a new one that's coming in. And health and diet is very important. It's definitely an aspect of Virgo. So have a look at that, because all of these things, whatever you do, whatever you change, whatever you upgrade, whatever you improve, is going to help your relationships across the board. Then in the 8th house, we have Libra Eye Balance, another relationship card. So the 8th house is the next step on from the 7th house. The 7th house is a committed relationship. The 8th house is the deeper merging of that. So this could be sexuality, whether you're in a partnership or not. 8th house is about sexuality. It's also about merging with another, whether it's a committed love partnership or whether it's another kind of partnership or relationship. So this is a deeper commitment, and it's the merging of your emotional and your material resources. How are we going to join together? How are we going to live together? How are we going to make this work? How are we going to work together, and so on. So it's all of that, is putting that together. It's also the house of other people's resources. So you may be involved in that. It may be a profession for you, or you may be handling your partner's resources or other people's just resources. That's usually money. Okay. It's also the house of big finance. So this is insurances, investments, taxes, banking, accounting, assets, legacies, and inheritances all come in to this house. It's also the house of endings and beginnings. All right, so something may fall away and something new may come in, and rebirth even. So if you are in an existing relationship, some aspects of it may fall away and new aspects may come in. So a regeneration or a rebirth. So with Libra Eye Balance coming in, it is very much a partnership card again. This is a romance card. It's a love card, but it's a partnership card. Sharing. It could be contentment in an existing relationship that is coming up for you, or it could be that this new person is coming and you're now going to the next level of your partnership. So it's merging, mutual support, sharing, coming together. Marriage and engagement is indicated with this card if it's a love partnership, or it could be, as I said, a coming together, a merging if it's another kind of a partnership. So always be aware with the Libra card that you need to balance your needs and the other person's needs. All right, so you can't sort of let go, or stifle your needs in preference to them. So because then you start heading into codependency and attachment and so on. You both need to be equally represented in the relationship. All right, so balance both your needs, but use your discernment. Don't go into criticism and nitpicking. Rather be helpful and constructive with how you're going to go about this. Okay. Because ultimately, Virgo is a gentle sign, all right? So you need to be gentle in how you handle this, all right? So balance both your needs. It could also be, if none of that is resonating for you, it could also be that you're fence-sitting at this time, fence-sitting over something, and it's time to make a decision. So you need to make a decision on something. The Libra card is going to bring that in for you. You need to do it yourself, otherwise the universe will step in. There could also be legal matters going on with this in this house, and also with this card. So apologies for the sirens. So just apply your partnership and your negotiation and your mediation abilities in this situation. It's all about rules and fairness, this card. Apply that across the board. It could also apply to a relationship, so following the rules and being fair about everything that goes on. But if it's a legal matter, bring in your charm and your ability to negotiate and mediate, which is very much a Libra trait. Also, the arts may be coming in for you: fashion, beauty, cosmetics. This could be a business, or it could be something that you're involved in, or you're going into that with your partner, or you have an interest in it. It's a financial investment for you. That could all be coming in for you, because Libra does rule all of that. So the arts, fashion, beauty, cosmetics, anything like that could be coming in for you. Ninth house, we have Mars Force. So ninth house is your house of international travel, all things foreign, you meeting the world or the world meeting you. That's one aspect. The other aspect is adventure and exploration, which can come in with that, or it can just be you embarking on some sort of adventure and exploration. And this could be with knowledge, because this house also rules higher education. So this is higher learning, university education, adult education. It's also about understanding or learning about philosophy, religion, and belief systems of all kinds. It's also the house of the law and the higher courts. So you could be studying that, or you may be involved in a legal situation of some kind. It's also about the search for meaning and purpose. So faith and wisdom comes in under this house. Also seeking truth through your intuitive processes. So intuition is very highly indicated in this house as well. It's also your interactions with your in-laws, your relationship with your in-laws. And it's the house of teaching, publishing, and public relations and promotions of all kinds. So with Mars Force coming in, this is saying to you, push forward on your goals now, okay, in this house, whatever your goals are. You're going to be feeling driven. This is going to give you that fire for you to go after what you want. You could also be facing a challenge or a competition in this house. So it's quite a big hurdle. So your warrior energy is going to be activated. You may have to confront or defend. You may also have to protect your interests in some way in this house. But it's definitely a passionate energy. You could be involved in sports and you're requiring this and you're going after it, and that's where the competitiveness comes in. But it's a very passionate response. It's a very fiery response. Measured and disciplined action is the best course of action with this in whatever field of the ninth house. I mean, it could be something you're going to study now, but you're going to have to push forward on it and stand your ground on it, and you're really going to have to apply yourself 100% to this desire, whatever it may be. But your warrior energy is activated, and Mars is how you get things done. Okay, so it's your get done planet, getting things done planet. So passionate, pushing forward with your goals, and feeling driven in whatever is appropriate for you in the ninth house. Then in the 10th house, we have Black Moon Lilith mystery. So the 10th house is your house of career. It's your fame, your reputation, and your public status. It's also the house of your authority figures, whether this is somebody in your life, you're like a family member, or it could be a person you look up to at work and your career, or it could be a public figure of some kind. It's also authoritative institutions, so the law, military, and so on, and anything to do, or government even. So with Black Moon Lilith mystery coming in, there are unknown factors in this house for you at this time. So you're not going to be 100% clear what's going to go down here. There may be undercurrents going on. So you know there's things moving under the surface, but you're not sure yet what. You could be waiting for something to happen, all right? It also could be asking you to stand firm at this time. If you are a feminine, stand firm in your feminine strength. If you are a man and you're using your feminine strength, it's about that. It's a very deep, strong, controlling power, okay? But it can also be that you are in the midst of intrigues going on. Or it could be that there are sort of swirling emotions going on, whether that's in yourself or you're seeing it in your environment. And these are darker emotions like jealousy, envy, revenge, bitterness, bitchiness, and any of those sorts of, and anger and fear even. I mean, all of these things come from fear in any way. So it could be that you or somebody around you is feeling overlooked at this time, and they're bitter about it, or rejected. It's also the card of rebellion. So this is kind of like a female rebellion, all right? So this is where the standing firm may come in as well. So, but what you need to do is you need to get these emotions under control. If it's in yourself, you need to get it under control, because you could very well undo a lot of good work and a lot of foundations that you've put in place. You could undo them in one fell swoop by just saying or doing the wrong thing, or harboring these darker emotions and not finding a healthy outlet for them. Okay, so as I say, it may be present in you, or it could be that you're on the receiving end of it in the 10th house, or you're seeing it in your 10th house in some way. Then in the 11th house we have Aquarius, I know. So this is the futuristic house, but it's also the house of friendships. You know, all your friendships. It's also the house of your contacts and networks, who you're interacting with, your groups, whether it's a physical group like a society or an association or a club, through to online groups and so on. It's also the house of your personal hobbies and interests, your visions and dreams for yourself. It's also about global consciousness and trends in society, social reform. All of those issues all come under the 11th house. It's a very idealistic house as well. So, it can be, apart from sort of groups associated with like profession, it can also be social groups. So with this, you're going to be getting glimpses of the future in some way. So you could be following trends, you could be involved in global consciousness or monitoring that in some way. It's going to be very highly indicated for you. So this is the card. It's going to bring intuitions and realizations to do with that. It's also, you know, a sort of a sense of knowing what is coming up, knowing what's coming in for you. It's about ideas, technology, science, and space. All of those things come in under this card. So it's kind of knowing, getting an insight or a realization about something, either which way you want to go, or something that, like a hobby or an interest of yours, or it could be something to do with your work or your profession, where you are monitoring trends and global consciousness and technology and ideas and so on. You're kind of making your way there, but you're going to be getting very strong insight about that. It could also be that you are getting the support of your friends and alliances for something that you want to do. And this is the house of friendship as well. So these alliances that you have may come across as almost like family or good friends to you. So you're going to be getting the support of them. Something that you want to do or an idea you have. This also brings in invention and ingenuity, originality. All of those aspects may be coming in. You could also be meeting different people. These are people that are different from yourself, either in gender or sexual orientation or race or creed, whatever it is. They're just different from you. But you're going to be learning a lot from them and interacting with them. They could be unconventional or eccentric as well. You could be joining groups that share your views in some way. And this is going to give you a lot of sort of ideas and insight. You could be mastering new things, which is where the technology comes in and so on. So mastering new things, whether it's socially, in groups, or with your friendships, or with yourself and what you're trying to aim for in the future. Then in the 12th house, we have Neptune sacrifice. As I said, this is coming in for your first house. It's influencing you there. It's influencing you in your relationships, and it's going to come up in your home life as well. So Neptune sacrifice, this is indicating 12th house is the house of the unconscious, everything that's going on under the surface, all right, which is a lot, actually. So it's also the house of seclusion and retreat, where you go to withdraw, where you go to reflect. It's the house of your spiritual life, your meditation, your mysticism, and your healing. It's also the house of escapism and addictions of all kinds, resolutions and endings. It's the house of service, service to others. So some people that are in the healing professions have a strong Neptune or Pisces influence because they're in the healing professions, they're in service to others. It can also be the house of karmic lessons. That is, we're all grappling with that every day of our lives, but it's karmic lessons coming in. It is also, it can also be where you meet twin flames as well. So if you have a twin flame coming in for you, and it's sort of seems to be coming in, you've got love coming in for you in some way, it might be a twin flame, or it could be a soulmate or somebody that you have a very deep connection with. So just be aware that with Neptune, a veil gets drawn over things sometimes, okay? So if you have got an important relationship coming in for you, use your communication skills, be very clear about what you say and what your motives are in this, and also their motives and their communication, to test the relationship, to make sure that it is what it could be, the love of your life, or it could be something else, all right? So just see. With Neptune sacrifice, this house, it can also be, come to think of it, it can also be your interactions in institutions of all kinds. So whether this is hospitals, banks, universities, libraries, prisons, anything like that could come in, any kind of institution, government even. So now with Neptune sacrifice, it's indicating that an ego death may be occurring at this time. So a sacrifice for the greater good, something that you need to let go of in yourself, something that needs to fall away to lift you up, or your relationship or your situation, to lift it up to a higher level. So time to examine your vulnerabilities and any escapist tendencies, any running tendencies that you may have. If you are involved in a twin flame relationship, then there are the runner-chaser dynamics. So you could be running, or you may have the urge to run, and so on. So examine all of that, do more research on the situation. But if it's just for you in general, it's still important to examine your vulnerabilities, any escapist tendencies or addictions that you may have. Be clear in your motives, all right, and drives, and avoid any confusion or emotional game playing going on, which can come in with this card. Just examine all of that if you see it creeping in, or if you feel it rising up in yourself, all right? It's a journey, and that means facing things in yourself, but also facing things in your relationships and in your world in general. And if you've got, just be aware that there are, the 12th house is about addictions and drugs as well, and Neptune does rule that. So just be aware that that may be a factor in your environment in some way, or you may perhaps need to take control of it at this time. But also the lovely other beautiful side of Neptune is the connection to higher consciousness, connection to higher self, your visions, your dreams. All of those things become very, very important. It's a highly imaginative quality, connection to the divine. You could be channeling the divine. You could be using that in your profession. Perhaps you are going into reading tarot cards, or you're going into channeling for others, or you're assisting others in some way, which brings in the service to others. So that's harnessing the connection to the divine and all those abilities and channeling it into work that you want to do to assist others. This card can also rule glamour and the film industry. That may be important for you at this time. So you may be going into that or involved in that in some way. And Neptune is wonderful for the film industry because of the imaginative fantasy qualities that come with it. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like and share, or like and subscribe. And take care and have a wonderful 2020. And I will see you next time.